Secrets of the Cosmos.
Okay, so space, right? It's basically this giant cosmic question mark where half the stuff out there is like mystery wrapped in another mystery, and we're all just guessing. Meanwhile, astronomers keep spotting these objects that make our nice, comfy textbooks look kind of stupid. Stuff that pokes holes in theories we've been, worshipping for decades. So in this video, I went ahead and gathered the weirdest, most headache-inducing cosmic anomalies and the hypotheses that come with them. The ones that are, honestly, about this close to breaking every idea we have about space, the universe, and our whole existence. Yeah, buckle up. So, fun fact, space is basically littered with these planets that just wander. No star, no cozy orbit, no warm glow, just drifting through the cosmic void like they missed their bus. Scientists call them orphan planets, which is kind of depressing, but also pretty metal. We first started getting little whispers about these things back in the 2000s, but only recently have astronomers been like, oh hey, we can actually detect them, thanks to this fancy trick called gravitational microlensing. So yeah, planets without parents, confirmed. And here's the wild part, these things can be huge, like bigger than Jupiter huge, but because they don't emit light, they're basically the cosmic equivalent of a black cat in a blackout, just totally invisible unless they bump into something. They usually get yeeted out of their original star systems during some gravitational disaster, stars having a messy breakup, planets getting thrown around, the usual celestial drama. And get this, in just the Milky Way alone, scientists think there could be like 200 billion of these rogue planets just vibing in the dark. 200 billion. And yeah, they basically drift around the galactic core like they're doing slow laps in a cosmic void gym. Now, if a planet doesn't even bother orbiting the galactic core, then congratulations. We've got ourselves an intergalactic planet, which means it's not rotating around anything. It's just drifting aimlessly in pure pitch black nothingness. No star, no home galaxy, no cosmic address. And here's the really to wander a little too close to our solar system. We'd spot it at like the absolute last possible second, because why not, right? And if it did swing by, it could mess with orbits, yank things out of place, and basically rewrite the entire solar system in ways that are scientifically described as significant and terrible. So sleep tight.
Interstellar Wanderer.
So, January 2014, Papua New Guinea. Something weird drops out of the sky. At the time, everyone's like, meteorite, whatever. But, plot twist, this thing was probably not from around here. Fast forward to 2019, and astronomers Amir Siraj and Avi Loeb are like, hey, we think that rock came from outside the solar system. And the reason? Its speed. The thing was clocking in at around 45 kilometers per second, which is, a bit much for your average local space pebble. Basically, the trajectory screamed interstellar visitor, like it just took a wrong turn at Alpha Centauri and face planted into the Pacific. Space really does not miss a chance to be dramatic. So if this whole thing checks out, then we're looking at the third interstellar object ever discovered, after Oumuamua and Comet Borisov, and the first one that actually face planted onto Earth instead of just doing a dramatic flyby. And here's the fun twist. The meteorite wasn't even spotted by, like, normal astronomy people. No, it was picked up by the US Space Command, the folks with telescopes meant for detecting, incoming enemy missiles, which is reassuring. The exact details of how they measured its trajectory and position are, of course, classified, because nothing says trust us like blacked out documents, but the Space Command insists there's, quote, almost 100% certainty that the fireball was interstellar in origin. So yeah, our first confirmed space rock from another star system, courtesy of military hardware, naturally. So yeah, the actual measurement data, totally classified, locked up tighter than my sleep schedule. And without those numbers, the scientific community is like, yeah, we're not stamping interstellar on this thing just because someone in a uniform said so, which, honestly, fair. But Avi Loeb, bless this man truly, is out here saying, look, the thing was moving stupidly fast and it didn't burn up way high in the atmosphere. So maybe it was made of something insanely tough or, artificial. Artificial, as in not natural, as in someone made it. Loeb basically speedruns the leap from weird rock to possible alien tech. And at this point, I'm not even surprised anymore. Space just keeps handing him material. So here's the thing about Loeb. The guy lives for anything even remotely smelling like extraterrestrial life. Like, you tell him a rock might be from outside the solar system, and he's already halfway out the door with a metal detector. So the second he heard about this allegedly interstellar meteorite, he dove right in. And once the US Space Command gave their little, yeah, probably interstellar nod, Loeb immediately started planning a treasure hunt for these microscopic metal spheres that form when a meteorite blows up in the atmosphere. And because the universe has a sense of humor, he actually got the funding, full funding. So in June 2023, this man launched an expedition, like an honest-to-God ocean expedition, to go sift through the seafloor for alien glitter. I mean, say what you will, but commitment, he's got it. So Loeb's team rolls out on this ship called the Silver Star, which honestly sounds like a discount casino, but whatever. And they've got this whole magnetic rig strapped to it so they can scrape microscopic junk off the ocean floor. Real glamorous science stuff. And somehow, it works. They end up collecting around 850 tiny metal spheres, each like a millimeter across, little cosmic sprinkles. When they analyze them, a few of these spheres show these weird, not your average Earth rock concentrations of chemical elements. Stuff that makes scientists go, huh, that's unusual, which could point to an interstellar origin. So yeah, we might have vacuumed up tiny pieces of something that drifted here from another star, or, you know, we just cleaned the galaxy's lint trap. Either way, kinda cool. Okay, plot twist. We don't actually know for sure if these tiny spheres even came from the meteorite. Like, maybe yes, maybe no. Science is fun that way. All of this is happening under the umbrella of the Galileo project, which Loeb started back in 2021. Fancy name, right? Very, we're definitely gonna find aliens. And basically, the whole point of the project is to find actual evidence of extraterrestrial technology, not just weird rocks or glowing clouds. Technology. Alien gadgets, if you will. So yeah, we're out here, sifting the ocean floor and staring at space, hoping the universe left us a little tech souvenir. Ambitious, chaotic, perfect. And the story doesn't end there. Loeb is already scheming the next big move, a new expedition slated for summer 2025. This time, he's bringing out the big toys, a remotely controlled underwater robot called Hercules. Yeah, sounds like something from a low-budget sci-fi flick, but apparently it's very good at picking up alien debris. The mission? Hunt down larger fragments of that interstellar meteorite, pieces big enough to tell us more about what the heck it's made of and where it actually came from. And if they pull it off, boom, humanity's first confirmed meteorite from outside the solar system, officially touched by human hands. No pressure, right?
Mysterious rings.
So 2019 rolls around, and the Australian telescope ASCAP is just minding its own business, doing astronomy things, when scientists stumble onto something that's, honestly, ridiculous. A giant ring of radiation. And when I say giant, I mean tens of times larger than our entire galaxy. Yeah, our Milky Way, tiny. This thing, cosmic hula hoop of doom. And you can't see it with the naked eye, obviously. It only shows up in radio wavelengths, which is code for the universe is hiding weird stuff again, because of course it is. And here's the kicker. These rings don't glow. They don't reflect light. They're completely invisible in the optical range. Nada. Zip. You could stare at the spot with $1 billion telescope and see nothing. The only way we can detect them is through radio waves. So yeah, basically, we're eavesdropping on the universe. To really wrap your head around the scale, those little bright specks you see in the images, each one is an entire galaxy. Not a star, not a nebula, a full-blown galaxy. And that ring, tens of times bigger than the Milky Way. So, small stuff, right? Oh, at first, scientists were like, okay, easy. It's probably just a shockwave from some massive explosion, or maybe two galaxies decided to play bumper cars. Seems reasonable, right? Except, nope. Not a single guess stuck. None of the explanations could be proven. The universe just leaned back, crossed its arms, and said, nope, try harder. Classic cosmic trolling. So scientists spent months staring at this thing, trying to reverse engineer what the universe just yeeted into the sky. But here's the problem. Nothing around it made any sense. There were no signs of a disaster, no leftover blast debris, no weird matter emissions, no scorch marks on nearby galaxies going, yeah bro, something exploded over there. Just a giant perfect ring sitting in the void like it spawned out of pure spite. The universe really loves giving us puzzles with zero clues. What really freaks people out is that these things just show up out of nowhere. No warning, no cosmic coming soon trailer, and they're always these gigantic, perfectly round rings. Like the universe suddenly got really into geometry. So far, the most, okay, this kinda makes sense, hypothesis is that they were formed by insanely powerful galactic winds. Huge streams of gas and energy blasted out from star explosion billions of years ago. Basically, ancient stellar fireworks on God mode. And this idea gets a little more believable because, conveniently, scientists found galaxies sitting right in the center of each ring. Like, yep, this is where the cosmic blow dryer probably turned on. Still weird as hell, but at least it's something. So, putting the pieces together, scientists figured that the rings probably formed inside those galaxies, and then just expanded outward over billions of years, sculpting these perfectly round, enormous structures that we can only detect with radio waves. Cosmic perfection, basically.
Life on Europa.
And now, for a hard left, we've all been obsessed with Mars, right? Classic candidate for alien life. Red, dusty, kind of lonely, very relatable. But here's the kicker. The current frontrunner for might actually host life isn't even a planet. Not Mars, not anything orbiting a star. Something else entirely, which is, a little unsettling if you ask me. Yeah, space doesn't do comfort zones. And here we go. The current MVP of maybe there's life isn't Mars, it's one of Jupiter's moons. Yeah, Europa. Back in the 2000s, scientists started throwing around the idea that there could be a whole hidden ocean under its icy surface. Like Earth, but, you know, way more remote and cold. And Jupiter is basically babysitting it. Its gravity keeps tugging and twisting Europa, which creates insane tides and, honestly, kind of keeps the moon from freezing solid, warming it up just enough to maybe support life. So yeah, tiny moon, giant stakes. This whole heat situation has a name, tidal warming. Yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. Jupiter's basically giving Europa a gravitational massage to keep things interesting. Fast forward to October 2024, and NASA finally said, enough talk, let's go spy. Enter the Europa Clipper mission. The plan? Fly around the moon dozens of times, scan for emissions from that hidden ocean, and maybe, just maybe, catch a whiff of organic matter using radar. You know, the standard alien life reconnaissance stuff. Fingers crossed it finds something, or at least gives scientists more excuses for dramatic headlines. And NASA isn't stopping at flybys. Oh no, they're already scheming the next phase. Meet the autonomous robot Burr. Yes, that's its name, which is designed to drill through up to 20 kilometers of ice. 20 freaking kilometers. Imagine that. And once it's through, they'll deploy a miniature submarine into Europa's hidden ocean. It'll either be controlled remotely or just do its own thing, fully autonomous. So basically, robot drills tiny subdives into an alien ocean, and humanity just sits back, hoping it texts us a selfie from the deep. So the plan, if all of this actually happens, is for the tiny sub to swim across Europa's ocean, check for any signs of life, grab water samples, and maybe, just maybe, stumble across something bigger than microbes. Something, you know, actually alive. And if it works, it'll be the first time in history humanity has explored an extraterrestrial ocean. Like, we're about to go scuba diving on another world. Sure, there's no atmosphere, no sunlight, and the pressure down there is absolutely insane. But scientists, they're still clinging to hope that something's kicking around in those alien waters. So yeah, alien ocean exploration, coming soon to a solar system near you. I mean, let's be real, look at our own oceans. Down in the deep, where there's no light and the pressure could crush a submarine like a soda can, microbial life is still thriving, just everywhere. So if I were putting money on where life might actually exist in our solar system, my cash would go straight to Europa. Not Mars, not Titan, Europa. Picture it, a colossally huge, dark, alien ocean, teeming with life we haven't even imagined yet. And somehow, that thought is way more thrilling than any Netflix series. Okay.
Vast voids.
Shifting gears, let's talk about the really empty parts of the universe. No stars, no galaxies, no light, just nothing. These places, they're called voids, and there are dozens of them. Take the Great Void and the constellation Volopus, for example. It's considered one of the largest voids we know of. Diameter, about 300 million light years. Yeah, that's not a typo. To put it in perspective, you could fit roughly 2,000 Milky Ways inside that thing. 2,000. It's so big and empty, it makes your existential dread look like a cozy blanket. And even after cramming in 2,000 Milky Ways, there's still so much space left. The Great Void was first noticed back in 1981, when astronomers were building a three-dimensional map of galaxies. Pretty standard cosmic cartography, right? And then, bam, they spot this enormous, empty shaft. According to the models, there should have been thousands of galaxies in there. Thousands. What did they actually find? 60. 60 galaxies in a space that should have been teeming. Just cosmic ghost town vibes. And these 60 galaxies, they're so tiny and sparse compared to the void around them that you could almost miss them. Seriously, blink and it's like they're not even there. Even factoring in the expansion of the universe, this void is abnormal. Like, why is this even a thing? Abnormal. And of course, no one has a clue why it exists. No solid explanation, just a giant nothingness mocking us across 300 million light years. Classic universe, always showing off. Scientists have tossed out a few ideas, of course. Maybe it's dark matter. Maybe there's just not enough matter to make galaxies in that zone. And then there's the really wild fringe theory that this void is basically a dent from a collision with another universe. Yeah, another universe. But let's be real, that one leans heavily into pseudoscience territory, highly improbable, probably more fun to think about than actually true. Still, the fact that anyone even suggests a cosmic collision, universe, you dramatic little thing. And get this, voids aren't just weird little patches here and there. They make up to 80% of the volume of the entire observable universe. 80 freaking percent. And yet, no one knows why these voids are so uniform, with such sharp edges, like someone just snipped a piece of space with scissors. They don't even look like emptiness. They look like literal rips in the fabric of the cosmos. Honestly, at this point, the universe is just showing off its chaotic craftsmanship. Alright, so the leading theory for why voids have those eerily perfect edges? Dark matter. Yeah, that mysterious stuff we can't see but somehow controls everything. Its gravity could basically smooth out the contours, making voids look neat and unnervingly precise.
The most distant galaxy.
Now, for a reality check, the most distant galaxy ever discovered is Jade's GS galaxy in Z14.0, spotted in 2024. And brace yourself, this galaxy was born about 13.5 billion years ago. Yeah, that's almost as old as the universe itself. Makes your morning existential dread look like amateur hour, doesn't it? To put that in perspective, Jade's GS galaxy popped into existence just 290 million years after the Big Bang. Yeah, practically a newborn in cosmic terms. Right now, it holds the title for the oldest known galaxy. And the light we're seeing from it left about 13 billion years ago. 13 billion years. So when you're complaining about Monday mornings, just remember, the universe has been streaming this show since the literal dawn of time. But of course, nothing is ever simple. This discovery comes with, well, let's call them uncomfortable questions. Questions that could, honestly, tear apart decades of cosmology textbooks. Here's the kicker. According to our calculations, this galaxy shouldn't even exist yet. Not at that time. Not in that part of the timeline. Theoretically, there just wasn't enough building material floating around the universe 290 million years after the Big Bang to assemble a full-fledged galaxy of that size. And yet, there it is, just casually breaking the rules. Classic universe. And it gets even messier. This galaxy isn't just there. It's huge for its age. Crazy bright and shockingly well developed. Like, it skipped the cosmic baby steps. It could have hundreds of millions of stars packed in there already. Hundreds of millions. Which basically boils down to two terrifying possibilities. Either our theories about galaxy formation are completely wrong, or something out there just turbocharged its development. And we're left standing here, clutching our equations like, wait, what? Universe, you sadistic show-off. Or, hear me out, the craziest possibility. The universe is actually older than we thought. Way older. Like, our timelines might be off. And apparently, at this point, the universe is probably dead. Yeah, its glory days peaked like a year ago. No, really. Our now might already be past the cosmic high score. Basically, we're looking at light from something that appeared during what's theorized as the rebirth stage of the entire universe. Like watching an old season finale that somehow still has plot twists. I mean, try not to lose your mind over it, or do, it's fine.
Enormous structure.
Base, always humble. Alright, strap in. This one's both terrifying and kind of mind-blowingly cool. The Great Wall of Hercules. Yeah, sounds like something you'd find in a fantasy RPG. Is actually one of the largest known structures in the entire universe. Not small, not medium, gigantic. We're talking a cluster of galaxies stretching across 10 billion light years. 10 billion light years. To put that in perspective, that's about 10% of the entire observable universe. Yeah, one structure takes up 1/10 of everything we can see. Imagine that, just a cosmic wall of galaxies staring back at you like, yeah, we do what we want. Frightening? Absolutely. Enlightening? Also yes. The universe really knows how to humble you. And yeah, it's not just big, it's far away. About 10 billion light years from Earth, which, if you think about it, means we're seeing it as it was 10 billion years ago. Yeah, the universe is basically a time machine, but here's the part that makes scientists lose their minds. It's not just the distance, it's the combination of its age and sheer size. I mean, a structure that huge, that early in cosmic history, it's like finding a fully grown skyscraper in the middle of a construction site. And naturally, scientists are just bewildered, completely classic. And of course, some scientists just refuse to believe it's real because apparently admitting it exists would directly contradict the Big Bang Theory. Can't have that, right? The thing is, its distance, about 10 billion light years, means we're seeing it how it looked 10 billion years ago. Basically, the universe showing us an epic structure from back when it was still in diapers. And some people are just like, nah, must be an optical illusion or a data glitch. Sure, Karen, keep telling yourself that. The universe doesn't care about your theories, by the way. According to the skeptics, what we're seeing happened only 3 billion years after the Big Bang, you know, when the universe was basically still finding its legs. And for them, that's not enough time for a structure this massive and complex to form, not even close. If you buy into the standard lambda CDM models, the biggest cosmic structures should top out at about 1.2 billion light years. And yet, here's Hercules, chilling at 10 billion light years like it's no big deal. Universe. Rules? What rules? So, the very existence of the Great Wall of Hercules basically screams one of three things. Either we misunderstood the structure itself, or we totally underestimated how much dark matter can mess with things, or, plot twist, the universe is just arranged differently than we've been imagining. And naturally, there aren't 100 theories floating around. There are just a handful of hypotheses that scientists are actually taking seriously. Which means the more we dig, the more the universe is laughing at us. Classic cosmic troll move. Alright, so here's what the leading ideas are. Some think it's just a fluctuation of density. Like, one patch of the universe got way denser than the rest, so naturally it started pulling in matter, like a cosmic vacuum. Others argue dark matter was giving it a little, boost, accelerating the whole process. Or maybe some unknown physical fields were flexing harder than gravity itself, who knows. But here's the thing, no one's rushing to call it. Most scientists just shrug and point at statistical rarity and the lack of solid data. So basically, we're mostly in the we don't really know, but it's spectacular camp, classic space science. And of course, the existence of these supermassive cosmic structures is terrifying. Some scientists actually panic a little. Yeah, that's a thing. But the mainstream explanation, the one most people lean on, is still the Big Bang Theory. Nothing fancy, just the classic origin story. According to it, the universe popped into existence around 13 billion years ago from an almost infinitely dense point called a singularity. Tiny, dense, everything packed into nothing. You get the idea. Basically, the universe started as a cosmic dot and then decided to go big or go home. But, I mean, think about it. What else in the universe has that kind of insane density? Yeah.
Inside a black hole.
Black holes, of course. The density at a singularity, or a black hole, is so extreme that it literally creates a hole in space. And not the kind you can, you know, trip over. The kind even light can't escape. So basically, the universe has been casually throwing out physics nightmares since day one. Cosmic hospitality at its finest. And here's where things get weird. Naturally, questions start piling up. First, if a singularity is that insanely dense, why didn't it just collapse into a black hole? Like, come on physics, pick a lane. Second, what if, bear with me here, we're actually living inside the center of a black hole, and what we call the expansion of the universe is really just the black hole gobbling up matter from another universe? As for the first question, the usual answer is kind of boringly technical. Apparently there was no space yet, none, zero. So the singularity couldn't collapse into a black hole because space itself was being born. But you know, comforting in a the universe is casually insane kind of way. Okay, this part is, frankly, a mind bender. To even make a hole in space, there has to be, well, space, right? Makes sense. But a singularity isn't an object in space. No, it is the whole universe. It's everything. There's no outside to poke a hole into, because everything is already in there. Our brains just can't handle it. We're wired to think that stuff exists somewhere, inside something else, like an infinite matryoshka of nesting dolls, but singularity? Nope, no matryoshka. Just nothing and everything at the same time. As for the second question, are we inside a black black hole, scientists are refreshingly honest. They have no idea. Once you get inside a black hole, the laws of physics just stop working completely. So yeah, comforting thought for your Tuesday night. And then things get even messier. Some folks will tell you nothing can exist inside a black hole. Totally airtight, right? Except some observations suggest otherwise. Black holes don't just sit there. They grow, they change, they even evaporate over time. Hawking radiation, anyone? And here's the kicker of this whole theory. That Big Bang we keep talking about, some propose it's basically just the birth of a black hole that grows, evolves, and eventually dies. So yeah, what we think of as the beginning of everything might actually just be the middle of some cosmic life cycle. Universe 1, humans 0. Alright, buckle up. Now we're really diving into cosmic doom. The thermal death of the universe, that slow fade to nothingness, is eerily similar to how black holes evaporate. You know, Hawking predicted it decades ago, but of course, here's the catch. All of this is basically educated guessing, nothing solid, just hypotheses stacked on top of more hypotheses. Enter Nikodym Poplawski, a Polish physicist and theorist, and a big fan of the black hole origin idea, and honestly, he explains it in a way even your brain, which is already fried from thinking about singularities, can sort of digest. So hang on, we're about to get the Cliff Notes version of the universe dying inside a black hole. Perfect, just what I needed. So Poplawski takes us all the way back to that very first point where the entire visible universe came from. And his analogy? Seeds. Yeah, seeds. Like, take a massive oak tree. It started out as a tiny acorn. Everything it became was already somehow contained in that little nut. And Poplawski says, basically, that singularity, the tiny point that birthed our universe, is like that acorn. All the galaxies, stars, planets, everything we see somehow packed into that minuscule starting point. Makes the universe feel like one giant cosmic gardening project. Honestly, comforting in a terrifying sort of way. And by that logic, if you want to give birth to this cosmic seed, this unbelievably dense acorn of everything, the easiest candidate is, well, a black hole. Because a black hole can warp space however it wants, using its almost infinitely dense core. It's basically the universe's chaotic midwife. And honestly, this version of the theory is way more gentle. It's not saying like, congrats, you currently live inside a black hole. Enjoy the existential crisis. No. It's just saying we might have come from one. What happened after that? Choose your own adventure, I guess. But despite how cool it sounds, yeah, it's still just theories stacked on top of guesses, stacked on top of cosmic shrugging. Nothing confirmed, nothing proven. Just the universe being weird and us trying to make sense of it with our extremely tired little brains. If humanity ever manages to actually record a black hole dying, that's gonna be like the cosmic equivalent of checking the cheat codes, because then we'd finally know whether the universe was born from some black hole style explosion, or if Stephen Hawking was right and black holes just quietly evaporate, and all these black hole gave birth to the universe theories are basically fan fiction written by physicists who've had too much coffee.
Dark matter.
And speaking of cosmic headaches, let's talk about dark matter. Dark matter is, hands down, the most mysterious substance in the entire universe. You can't see it, you can't touch it, you can't record it, nothing. It is the ultimate trust me bro of astrophysics. But the wild part, we're still sure it exists. Not because we can detect it directly, but because of its weird influence on literally everything else. Galaxies, gravity, the whole structure of the universe. So yeah, we can't find it, can't measure it, can't poke it, but apparently it's out there shaping the cosmos like some invisible gem bro. And the crazy part, it's dark matter that keeps entire galaxies from just collapsing into sad cosmic pancakes. It's the thing holding everything together, threading the universe into this giant three-dimensional spiderweb. Because like, intuitively, after the Big Bang, you'd expect the universe to be total chaos, right? Just a floating junkyard of particles yeeting around everywhere. But when scientists zoomed out, way out, like billions of light years out, they realized the universe isn't chaotic at all. It's structured, almost organized, and that structure looks almost exactly like a cosmic web. Filaments, clusters, nodes, all of it shaped and sculpted by dark matter doing its invisible thing. So yeah, the whole universe basically owes its aesthetic to something we can't see, can't detect, and don't understand. Love that for us. So astronomers, being the optimistic folks they are, thought studying galaxy rotation would be simple. You know, same rules as our solar system. Gravity drops off with distance, instance, most of the mass is hanging out in the center. Everything rotates nicely. But surprise, surprise, that's not what happened. They started observing the opposite. Galaxies weren't obeying the rules we expected. Outer stars weren't slowing down. They were moving way too fast, like the universe was flipping them the bird. And that's when dark matter really stole the show. Here's the kicker. The stars at the edges of galaxies were rotating at the same speed as the ones near the center. Yeah, outer stars were zipping around like inner stars, completely defying what we expected. And naturally, this caused massive confusion. At those speeds, the stars should have just flown off into space like cosmic confetti. And that's when scientists had their first collective existential freakout. Wait, do we even understand how gravity works in the universe? Spoiler, they still don't. And we're left staring at galaxies thinking, yeah, something invisible is holding this mess together, but what the hell is it? Classic universe. Classic. So here's the deal with dark matter. It's got mass because it clearly messes with gravity. You can feel it's there. Objects move, galaxies rotate, something's tugging at them. But classic dark matter, it doesn't emit light, doesn't radiate heat, doesn't interact with particles. Nada. Zero. The only way we even know it exists is by watching how stuff around it behaves. Gravity is basically the only clue we've got. So yeah, it's invisible, untouchable, yet somehow the universe's ultimate puppet master. Can't see it, can't touch it, but it's running the show. At the end of the day, dark matter is basically the invisible scaffolding of the universe. Without it, well, the whole thing would probably just collapse into a sad cosmic heap. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little tour through the weirdest corners of space. Don't forget to drop a comment, hit like, help this madness reach more people who also want their minds melted. That's all for now. Bye. Keep staring at the stars carefully.